Comment qu'il s'appelle ce chapitre?
Part 2. Azure Moon.
Ah, ouais.
Verdant Rain Moon. Our chosen paths.
Chacun choisit sa voie. Notre voie choisie. Hein. Our chosen path, c'est comme ça que je résumerai. Oui, la dernière fois on avait eu Fort Versailles. Oui, c'est vrai. Et on avait rassemblé l'Alliance et le Royaume.
With sufficient might to challenge the Empire, the Kingdom Army finalizes their plans to march on Enbar.
Évidemment, je l'avais deviné. On allait envahir Enbar, logique.
Ah, there you are. His Highness was looking for you.
Où est Dimitri? Je veux le savoir. Dis-le-moi.
Ahead and started interrogating the prisoner, Viscount Kleiman's man. He said he'd like for you and I to be present as well. Will you come with me?
Oui, bien sûr. Avec grand joie.
I cannot overlook your reckless remarks. Are you really so keen to lose your head?
I only did what I believed was right. I swear to the goddess that I'm not lying.
C'est qui ça, Clément?
Amidst the turmoil of the tragedy, Lady Patricia was supposed to be the only one who was unharmed. We had been given orders ahead of time to not approach her carriage.
Vous savez ce qui me... Est-ce que vous savez c'est quoi mon problème là avec... Il se trouve que Patricia, bah c'est le nom de ma mère en fait. Et du coup c'est... C'est gênant. Voilà, c'est gênant en fait. Je ne peux pas m'empêcher d'y penser. Voilà, c'est... Voilà, je ne peux pas m'empêcher d'y penser. Voilà, c'est un peu gênant. Voilà, petit histoire de prévenir, voilà.
Of course not. What would my stepmother have had to gain from such a...
Perhaps Lady Patricia would have done anything to return to the Empire, to her husband and daughter.
What exactly are you implying?
For the past few months, I've been spying on lords who defected to the Empire in order to investigate rumors about Lady Patricia. Cornelius' words were true. The two of them, I am afraid they conspired together after all.
Enough of this nonsense. You say she wished to return home? That isn't nearly enough reason to cause such a tragedy.
Il a pas tort.
I do not intend to imply that the two of them were solely responsible for the whole affair. They were likely nobles who opposed the king, or potentially someone who wanted to throw the kingdom into chaos. The Empire and people like Solon and Kronya had their motives too.
So my stepmother joined with them to cause the tragedy. Is that what you believe?
Ultimately, this is just conjecture based on the evidence at hand. I have no idea what their true intentions were.
I see. We will hear what this man has to say. For now.
My lord had long felt that King Lambert's radical ways were dangerous. At the time he was approached with an offer to take part in the incident at Dusker. My lord loves his homeland. To me, he embodied justice. We were only doing what we thought was right.
And so, in the name of justice, he caused massacre upon massacre out of love for his homeland. You murdered your own king, killed our soldiers, and involved innocent citizens. And yet you have the gall to speak of justice.
C'est con.
I am only standing before you now because I could no longer bear the weight of my sins.
Est-ce qu'il regrette?
No. I accept your hatred and even the punishment of death, but I still believe it was a massacre in the name of justice.
Gilbert, lock this man in his cell.
Are you not going to kill him?
I will make that decision once I have had time to consider this man's definition of justice.
Yes, Your Highness.
J'aime bien quand il fait ça. J'aime bien. C'est un souverain avisé. Et salut Wicase. Ça toi, bienvenue. Mets-toi bien.
No, I cannot say that I am. Tell me, Professor, how well do you remember your father?
Bon, je m'en souviens plutôt bien.
Soon enough, you will come to understand how painful it is to forget the faces of those who have passed on. To be honest, I cannot really remember my stepmother's... that woman's smile, nor the sound of her voice. I always told myself that I would not allow my mind to forget, and yet, all I can recall with clarity is her gazing away, so forlorn. Did my stepmother wish to go home so badly that she would kill Father and me? Kill her false family? Home, to her own blood. Her true family.
Si tous les problèmes découlent de ça, c'est terrible. Et merci.
I suppose it doesn't make any difference now. I am asking you questions you could not possibly know.
Tant mieux. Ok, bah, si je l'ai pas, tant mieux.
I am finally able to go on without clinging to hate. If I truly treasure those who have died, then I must earnestly atone for my sins. Father, Glenn, all of the soldiers who have fallen, the people of Duscur who still suffer persecution. The only atonement I can offer them now is to take responsibility for this broken kingdom that has been entrusted to me.
Ah, t'aimes pas Dimitri? J'aime beaucoup le perso. Il me plaît énormément.
That is why I feel that I must meet with Edelgard
and
try to talk to her.
Et on va même pas lui casser la gueule?
Honestly, I think so too. But I must swallow my feelings and grudges, our whole history really, and ask her about this future that she sees. What she aims for once her domination is complete. What kind of justice she clings to as she fights. And why she felt it necessary to start this war. I believe that asking her these things is the true responsibility I have been tasked with.
C'est vrai que je veux bien savoir moi aussi. Moi je suis plus Claude. Ah, je vais pas mentir. Je me suis toujours demandé qu'est-ce que je ferais entre bleu et jaune. Mais au final j'ai quand même pris bleu parce que moi je suis un fan de cache-œil à la base. À la base moi je suis un fan de cache-œil. Quand même.
We will march our troops to the imperial capital. But before any battle begins, we will set up camp nearby and send a messenger. I will tell her that I need to speak with her in a safe place without any weapons or troops. As to whether or not she will agree to my request, well, that rests solely on Edelgard.
Je pense pas qu'elle acceptera, perso.
I would like to believe that as well.
Je pense vraiment pas qu'elle acceptera.
When we fought in Ferdiad, Cornelia mocked me and called me pitiful. But even if it is true that my stepmother never loved me, I am not to be pitied. After all, I have allies and dear friends who care for me. And now, I also have you by my side.
Your Highness, sorry, I mean Dimitri, would you, do you want to train together today?
Ash, of course, I'm glad you asked.
Après le Ash, ah ouais non, Ash. C'est bon, hein. Ça va bien, hein. Il me sert pour les supports et c'est tout. Hein.
Oh, yes, I suppose, I mean, sure, it'd be, that is, it would be my pleasure to dine with you.
Il est pas très à l'aise.
I mean,
Après tu veux que je le respecte? Il bégaye devant...
Sorry, Your Highness. I'm just no good at this. I'll do my best to improve.
Are you still worrying over what I said to you before?
I'm trying to do as you asked, but it's just completely...
Mon expert, je finis avec mes persos niveau 35. Oh bon, carré alors.
I understand the urge to show respect where it is due. However, that is not the case here.
Carré alors. Tu joues Marianne, oui, je l'ai recruté parce que... oh, disons que j'ai été séduit. J'ai été séduit. Je l'ai pas prise pour ses stats, hein, vraiment. J'ai vu que le perso m'intéressait, c'est vraiment ça.
Sure, when you get right down to it, royalty like you and common folk like me, we're all just people. But the common folk still rely on the nobility to keep the peace and to keep them safe. Commoners pay the price for that in taxes and respect. That's what Lenato says.
I suppose I can understand that point of view. But the flaw in your logic is that I am not officially the king just yet.
C'est vrai.
But that's not all there is to it.
Oui, bah forte... C'est pas ma meilleure unité, hein, mais c'est un support que j'apprécie. Mais c'est pas ma meilleure unité, loin de là. Non là, mes unités craquées, c'est vraiment Sylvain, bon Dimitri bien sûr, Annette, Félix, bah, Billette bien sûr. Ouais, j'irais moi, Sylvain, Félix, Annette, c'est vraiment mes 3 monstres. Hein.
Well, I do my best. So I guess mutual respect between us is what's really the most appropriate.
Petra bien sûr. Petra, bien évidemment. Oubliais-je Petra. Ah. Ah là, non, Petra. Moitié des personnes sont fumées. Et tant mieux. Et tant mieux.
Let's start from the beginning then. Would you like to train with me today, Your Highness?
Of course, Ash.
Elle reste bien avec Mercedes. Tu trouves Marianne meilleure que Mercedes? En vrai, je trouve les deux un peu équivalentes.
Hello there, Dedu.
Dedu.
I just want to say that I am really terribly sorry.
For what?
Un flou de zinzin. Dedu.
I tried to cook on my own. It was an absolute disaster.
Tiens, tiens, tiens.
Adding that seasoning. Adding all that seasoning. What a mistake.
Mistakes happen.
But Chef, that is, Dedu, I defied your instructions. Quite blatantly, I might add. I tried to cook before I had gained mastery over the tools.
Ouais, mais elle a 2-3 sorts utiles que autres. Que remède, Marianne.
Are you going to stop teaching me now?
Tu es à la première semaine du mois final? Oui. Pas du mois final. Bah, je suis au chapitre 21. Je sais qu'il y en a 22, donc. Non, je suis pas mois final là. Attends, j'ai pas lu.
You have not disappointed me.
Comment ça, c'est le mois final?
The food itself tasted
Ah.
awful, of course.
Ok.
But there was more
Bon,
to
du coup,
it
c'est le
than
mois
that.
final.
I could feel the thought you put into it.
Ok,
The
les
wish
chapitres
to please
s'enchaînent. Ok.
others, to be faithful to what you've learned.
You actually ate the food I made?
I did.
Bon, bah, on va bien faire les chapitres.
Perfection. You also seem to have learned how to handle fish without my instruction.
I learned by watching you.
You have talent. One day you will surpass me.
Bah, logique, c'est
I
une.
was certain you would be angry with me. It is decided then. Someday you will exclaim that something I made is delicious. I do not quite know how many years it will
C'est mon
take,
dernier mois, tu veux
but I
dire.
am willing to rise to the challenge.
Une flame.
Help me
Une
get
flame.
there.
Exactement.
I will.
Bien joué, Weekcase. Bien joué.
I look forward to it. Now, your next lesson will consist of the selection and seasoning of ingredients.
Of course, Chef. Dedu, rather.
Call me whatever you want.
Oh, this is so exciting. Let me see. Chef Dedu, Master Chef Duda,
Duda.
Supreme Chef Deddy Pie.
I suppose.
Oh, I know! Chef Deddles!
Je m'attendais pas à ce qu'il rougisse. C'était marrant. Ok, alors attends. Qu'est-ce qui me manque? On a fini ça.
What's wrong, Dimitri? Your swordplay is oddly sluggish today.
Sorry.
If you were hungry, I'd get you something to eat. That's not the problem, though, it seems. It's not much fun fighting you when you're so far below your usual standards.
Do not worry. I will be myself again in a moment.
Are you worried about something? Tell me.
This war. Once it is over, I will have to go back to the capital.
Ouais, tu passes 2h30 sur les prépas. Moi je suis assez lent quand même. C'est ta première run? Oui, c'est ma première. C'est ma première run tout court. C'est la première fois que je fais le jeu. C'est ma première run tout court, genre.
Garrigmock and Ferdiad are quite far apart.
It will be hard to get by without them. I've grown very fond of
Donc ouais, si vous connaissez pas, dites-vous que à part les Blue Lions, je n'ai rien fait. Donc on évite tout ce qui est révélé dans d'autres runs, s'il vous plaît. Hein.
Return to the capital with me.
That's it? Return to the capital, just like that, with no explanation?
You were the one who told me to speak.
Je pense que je suis quelqu'un d'un naturel assez lent VCS. Et ça, y a moyen.
Salut à toi, billet de Stéphanie.
Il y a moyen que ça passe. Et merci, c'est Kyogre. Merci du follow, ça fait plaisir. Bienvenue à tous, hein. Sur cette fin de Let's Play Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Don't waste your romantic words on me. Save them for a girl you really like.
I was just saying what I felt.
D'accord, t'aimes bien déjà? Oui, je demandais pour éviter de spoil. Ouais, tu fais bien, merci. Merci de ta considération. Mais alors moi, faut savoir. Avec Fire Emblem, j'ai un... comment dire? J'ai un gros... j'ai un passif qui fait que je suis pas très fan de la licence. Mais ce jeu-là, c'est un peu l'exception qui confirme la règle. J'ai toutes les améliorations quality of life, je sais pas comment le résumer, enfin le traduire en français. C'est très 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 agréable, hein, vraiment. Donc c'est cool. Et puis, alors je savais qu'il y avait un arc de guerre, hein, qu'il y avait d'abord Eleves, si tu veux du simple, fais Fates. Alors je veux un bon jeu aussi et un bon scénario. Mais oui. Qu'est-ce que je disais juste avant? Qu'est-ce que je disais juste avant? Je vais réfléchir. Je vais réfléchir.
That has been my intent. But surely my daughter Annette must have her own path to follow. Perhaps she would be happier if our paths diverged.
Écoute, Lucina, je sais pas. Je n'ai pas fait le jeu, je ne connais rien. Je connais que ce que je sais de Smash. Il faut mieux que de toute façon. Au moins, il y a un gameplay. Encore une fois, c'est faut le savoir, hein. C'est donc c'est très bien qu'il n'y ait pas ça. Parce que là où il y a un peu de challenge, et bah je me fais rapidement chier dans 8 et 9 par exemple. Le vieux pêcheur.
A short time ago, I instructed these children in the art of fishing.
Thanks to you, we caught a really big fish in the river nearby.
Is that right?
Ce sprite.
We will.
Bah ouais. Je te jure que j'ai plus galéré dans F8 que dans celui-là. Hein. Après, je jouais encore une fois, je jouais en normal. Là, j'ai roulé sur tout le jeu là, et c'est très bien.
I even told you to forget you ever saw me smile. But now, I would not ask that of you. Your words from when last we spoke.
Ça va, j'aime bien Gilbert. Après, t'es en baby mode, ouais. Je suis pas dans... Si, je crois que c'est plus facile. Ouais. Mais c'est très bien. Parce qu'il y a quand même des situations où genre je suis content d'avoir pris la bonne difficulté, t'as vu? J'aime bien Gilbert. Tu vois, moi, je joue... moi, on m'a vendu Fire Emblem comme un jeu vraiment sympa comme ça. Et moi, je m'attendais à ça. Dans 8 et 9. Faut que tu les forges avec des Master Wolf.
And what about you? Have you got something on your mind again?
Et...
You really should go to bed. It is chilly out, and you could catch cold. What's the matter? Have you been having nightmares?
Well, in a certain sense, yes. Can you spare a moment?
Of course.
Thank you. I want to apologize to you. When last we spoke,
oh, c'est vrai que je pourrais faire ça aussi.
Your words that night touched me deeply. It felt as though I had been punched in the gut. But more importantly, I think I owe you an apology. I lied to you.
Mais non.
You did?
Do you recall when I ate that meal you cooked and I told you it was delicious?
Ah, il était
The
dégueulasse.
truth is that no matter what I eat, I can scarcely taste it. I have not had my sense of taste for 9 years now.
Mais non.
My cooking certainly is not something people often compliment me on.
I am sorry. When I said the food was good, I was just saying what I thought you would want to hear.
Ah.
An apology is not necessary. You were only trying to be kind, after all.
In the end, I am not sure it
Je
was.
te jure que c'est le Covid, hein.
It's nice to hear.
Mets ton masque. Bâtard.
Hey, I have an idea. What if you sampled some really pungent food? Or something extremely spicy? Maybe that would...
Flame,
Yes?
I like your cooking. I cannot taste it properly, but in my book, it is truly delicious.
No need for the flattery. Anyhow, maybe someday you will get your taste back. I hope then you will be able to compliment me sincerely about my cooking.
Is something the matter? Your heart does not seem to be in your training today.
Ah, on finit des supports, nous.
bothering me.
Voilà.
Evil thoughts do hinder training. Tell me what bothers you.
You were sworn to protect the royal family. But when we met 5 years ago, you weren't in the kingdom capital. You were in Garreg Mach. What could have made a great knight like you abandon his vow?
That is difficult to explain. You are aware of the tragedy of Dusker? When the king's party was massacred 9 years ago.
I am. It affected me too. My brother was suspected of being involved in the attack. And so the church, they...
Forgive me. That must be a difficult memory.
Why are you apologizing? It's not your fault.
I disagree. Had I been by His Majesty's side on that day where I was sworn to be, perhaps His Majesty would not have lost his life. And all would be different.
Is that why you left Fargus?
On écoute quand même, c'est le dernier.
But I feel I was responsible for everything.
I would never laugh at something like that. But I do think you should have seen things through to the end. Even if you had to endure dishonor for a while, you could have restored your name. I'm sorry. That was inconsiderate of me. I got carried away by how much your situation resembles my own.
Tu mens?
You were adopted by Lord Lonato, correct? I once told you that I wish to protect one thing other than my king. And that is my family. My wife and my daughter, both of whom I left behind.
Bah ça va, t'as retrouvé ta fille au moins.
Lord Lonato took up his sword for his son, even if that meant turning his back on the goddess. As a father, I cannot condemn Lord Lonato for raising an army.
C'est vrai qu'au début du jeu, j'étais là en mode non, rien bizarre et tout. Mais c'est vrai que là, on est côté Réa, mais j'imagine que de l'autre côté, on doit la voir en bizarre. Hein. On doit la voir. Bof, hein. C'est pour ça, tu vois, je veux voir les autres points de vue. C'est ça qui est intéressant, du coup. Tu comprends vite qu'il y a que tout est nuancé, qu'il n'y a pas de gentil, pas de méchant. C'est loin d'être manichéen. Du coup, moi, je pense que c'est intéressant de voir absolument tous les points de vue.
It would be my pleasure to oversee the training of a new generation.
Mais oui, depuis un petit moment, j'ai décidé que ce serait Annette. Je l'aime trop. Elle est trop gentille. Et moi, j'ai besoin d'une fille gentille dans ma vie.
Listen, Dimitri. The truth is, I am afraid of sleeping.
Afraid of it? Why?
I am afraid that when I close my eyes, I shall fall into a very deep sleep. One from which I cannot wake up. For years upon years. Then when I finally awaken, everyone I know and love will be long gone. vanished with the sands of time.
Pas de soucis, bah,
I am sure it
t'inquiète.
seems silly, but try as I might, I cannot shake this fear.
I cannot quite grasp what you are describing, but I can promise you one thing. No matter how many years go by, I will always remember you.
I appreciate the sentiment. Even so, one day...
Listen carefully, Flane. There is something I have been wanting to tell you.
Oh? What is that?
You know that dish you made the other day? It was so sweet, it made my tongue go numb.
I am not so sure that is a good thing.
Mais du coup, il a le goût.
Well, I could only really taste the first bite, so I may have been imagining it. But still, I was so happy.
En 9 ans.
Always put a smile on my face whenever I remember it. I could never forget you, Flane. I promise. Besides, we have
Ma
fought
théorie
side
tient
by
toujours, hein.
side. We are friends. I am sure all of the others
Ma
would say the
théorie
same.
tient toujours.
Is something the matter?
Tu penses que je vais te croire, Dimitri? Tu mens. T'es un menteur. Quelle théorie? Ah, que les fans de Flame c'est les mêmes mecs que les fans de Futaba, genre c'est les mêmes mecs. Et du coup, c'est plus compliqué de prendre le personnage au sérieux.
Hey, wait. I did not mean for you to fall asleep right here.
Someday you...
Mais elle s'endort debout là.
Food.
Flame, she is hopeless.
Tu vois? Elle est trop... comme elle est. Je vais voir mes items, tout ça.
Professor, do you think
Ah
Ada
d'accord,
will
oui.
show up?
Ok. Elle viendra.
Well, well. It's been a long time, Professor.
Vous devez pas être sœurs? Être seule? Ok, bon c'est bon, ils sont pas seuls non plus.
I did not think you would actually accept my request.
Call it a win. Well then, what did you want to talk about?
I will get straight to the point. Why did you start this war? There had to be a way to change things in your territory without the need for so many senseless casualties.
It may be hard to believe, but this is the way that leads to the fewest casualties in the end. Don't you see?
How could I? Countless people have already lost their lives in this conflict.
The longer we took to revolt, the more victims this crooked world would have claimed. I weighed the victims of war against the victims of the world as it is now, and I chose the former. I believe that I have chosen the best path, the only path.
Even after seeing the faces of those who have suffered the ravages of war, you would still force them to throw their lives away for the future? You are obsessively devoted to this war, and deaf to the screams of its victims. You cannot change the cycle of the strong dominating the weak with a method like that.
You're wrong. That very cycle is exactly what I have devoted my life and my power to destroying. If after all of this, you believe the weak will still be weak, that is only because they are too used to relying on others instead of on themselves.
Yes, perhaps someone as strong as you are can claim something like that. But you cannot force that belief onto others. People aren't as strong as you think they are. There are those who cannot live without their faith, and those who cannot go on once they have lost their reason for living. Your path will not be able to save them. It is the path of the strong, and so it could only benefit the strong.
So you consider me strong, do you? Even if one clings to their faith, the goddess will never answer them. Countless souls will be lost that way, living without purpose. And I can be counted among those who have died that way as well. But that's why I must change this world, on behalf of the silent and weak.
And do you intend to become a goddess yourself? Will you steal the power to take action from the broken-hearted masses you claim to defend? The ones who can truly change the way of the world are not the rulers, but the people. Pushing your own sense of justice and your own ideals onto even one other person is nothing more than self-righteousness.
Maybe it is self-righteousness, but it doesn't matter. Someone has to take action and put a stop to this world's endless, blood-stained history.
Do you not believe in the power of the people to join together and rise up? Humans are weak creatures. A they are also creatures who help each other, support each other, and together find the right path. I have learned that humans are capable of all that from the Professor, and from everyone in my life.
I doubt a highborn person like yourself could know how the poor feel or what motivates them. This is nonsense, though I'm finally starting to understand how you feel. But that makes it even clearer to me that we can never fully understand each other.
I feel the same. I finally understand what you believe is right.
Goodbye, Dimitri.
Wait, Edelgard. There is something I must give you. This is for you. Use it to cut a path to the future you wish for. And I will rise up to meet you there. Elle?
Elle! So it's true. You're really going away? Going back home?
There's nothing I can do about it. It's all happening so fast. I'm as surprised as you are.
Elle. Here. I want you to have this. Elle, listen to me. No matter how hard things get, you can't give in, okay? You've got to cut a path to the future you wish for, no matter what.
It's a dagger? Why would you give me something like this?
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't think of anything better to give you.
Edelgard, what are you doing? It's time to go. Hurry and get in the carriage.
Oh, I'm sorry, Uncle. I have to go now.
I remember now. You gave me a dagger all those years ago.
I'm still sorry about that. I should have given you something that would have made you happier.
Perhaps. At the time, I was quite flustered by such a dangerous gift. I left without giving you a proper response, and that was the last time we saw each other.
True. It is a sweet memory, with a bitter ending.
I'm afraid it will do no good to reminisce, Dimitri. That girl you knew back then is gone, as good as dead. But I'll tell you now what I wasn't able to tell you back then. Thank you, my dear forgotten friend. Because of you, I never lost my heart. As for the future, that will be decided in battle. King of Fargus, as the Emperor, I shall await your arrival in Inbar.
Oh, attends. C'est bon? Je peux parler 5 secondes? Ok. J'ai bien aimé la scène. Mais je sais pas si c'est tourné de façon à ce qu'on soit plutôt d'accord avec Dimitri. Parce que on l'a choisi. Mais elle est conne, Edelgard. C'est moi ou elle est conne?
Sorry. It looks like I'm going to have to leave you now. One day, I hope you'll give this ring to someone you love as well as I love her.
Ah, c'est tout. Merde. Putain. J'ai appuyé sur A pour le dialogue, j'ai failli me fail. Et d'ailleurs, en parlant de sa fille. Et c'était tout en fait.
The Kingdom Army, having gathered new troops and significant strength, commences its march towards the imperial capital of Enbar. In response to their movements, Emperor Edelgard orders her trusted retainer, Hubert, to the front lines to meet the Kingdom Army head-on. The two forces clash in the city streets.
C'est parti.
Gates to the Imperial capital have been broken. All troops, storm in! The Emperor is within reach.
Imperial troops are dug in across the city. Let's cut through them and carve a route to the palace.
Y a un coffre, j'avais pas vu.
The Savior King arrives, hands red.
Y avait un coffre à droite, j'avais pas regardé. Eh, au pire, je pourrais pas m'en servir, donc je m'en fous.
Once the enemy is in range, fire at will. Reinforcements will fly in shortly. Keep your focus and hold steady until they arrive.
En Dorota, ça me met pas très bien.
What's my strategy?
Hehe, boy. Yeah, boy. Oula, c'est quoi Tâche-Pache? C'était un bot? Merci Anto.
What's next?
Voilà. Ah, voilà. Hein. Premier coup critique, premier coup critique.
A tragic end.
Ok.
My work's not done.
Je vais faire ça. Je vais faire ça. Ok.
One to remember.
Le lance-assist c'est très bien.
I shall not stray.
Ok.
Hopefully I'll be more useful now.
Eh 38 de crit. Bien sûr que je tue. Voilà, merci. Voilà, merci. Merci pour l'arc héros. Merci. Ah. Et toi là, hein. Pas comme si ça me... Attends, on peut voir, hein. J'ai un petit épieu, donc s'il veut me taper l'autre con... Ok.
The battle is nearing the opera house. I hope everyone in the company is safe.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Ah, je l'ai mis H héros, bon. Carré. Obvious. Bah, je vais mourir là. Bah ouais. Ah voilà. Ah voilà. Ils aiment pas ce... Ah voilà. Et tout le temps là, lui. Bah, il veut se suicider. Bon, toi, viens t'esquive. Voilà. Carré. Ça avance, ça avance. Alors, là, par contre, c'est chiant. Ouais, c'est logique, c'est pas grave. C'est pas grave, c'est pas grave. Tout va bien. 23 x 2. Ah ouais. Je tout soigne. Oh la sale merde. Oh la sale merde. Épée acier 24 x 2. Oui. Oui, 24 x 2 ça fait 48. Okay. Une épée acier, je pense que ça suffira. Bah 50 x 2 ça devrait aller. Voilà. Hein.
Another victory. There is still room for improvement.
Hop, comme ça. Je vais juste tester. Au pire, je donne dans le temps. Je veux juste tester, voir combien de dégâts elle prend. 40 fois ça devrait aller. Hein. T'as vraiment raté ça? Merci. J'ai vu qu'elle avait porté des... Ouais, mais elle est un assassin, donc elle a un arc aussi. Elle a un arc aussi, donc... Ouais, comme ça, vas-y, go attaquer avec de la magie. Hop.
You haven't earned my pity.
Voilà.
Stronger, faster, never enough.
Normalement j'attaque direct. Je crois que c'est ça. Je vais taper les deux. Et je vais enchaîner je crois. Non. Non j'enchaîne pas. Wesh.
A threat eliminated.
Critique! S'il te plaît! Let's go! Let's go!
It is done. Onward.
Voilà. Voilà, là t'es gênant là. Je vais venir chez toi tuer tous tes persos moi-même. Oh non, il y aura pas de meurtre chez moi. Les ennemis peuvent critique? Mais non. Mais non, ils peuvent pas. Ils peuvent pas en normal. Ils ont jamais vu. Bah me tape pas au pire. Au pire hein. Veski? Voilà. Foolish. J'ai rien que Veski aussi. Let's go. Je chie sur votre jeu. C'est bon ou pas? Hop. Ah bah. Annette ici, elle me tue ça, c'est logique. Ok. Tout devrait bien se passer. Normalement. Eh. Voilà. On trouve des solutions. On trouve des solutions. Bam. Bam. Voilà. Nous trouvons des solutions. Avec l'épée orage, je te tue. Let's go. Je te dis enfin bonjour après avoir regardé dans l'ombre de le stream aujourd'hui. Eh bah, y a pas de souci. Allez, au pire te recevoir. Oh là là, la vesquille. Aime bien ça. Je vais lui laisser un tour de plus. Elle aura le droit à un tour de plus. Pas comme si elle allait me faire mal non plus. Eh ben m'attaque pas!
My only request is that if you win, you'll at least have the decency to kill me quickly.
Voilà, en plus tu fais ça. Eh ben fallait pas m'attaquer. T'es gênant mon ref. Ouais, t'es un peu gênant. Ouais, je l'ai entendu, hein. Oula, ça va bien. Oula. Bien, tu fais ski toi. Oh, tu forces. Oh mais. Ah, qu'il va nous faire à tout. C'est vrai qu'il va nous faire à tout, j'avais zappé. Ok. Quoi, il y a un mage? Bon, au pire, tu tues. Meurtrier. Et voilà. Et voilà, meurtrier c'est activé. Un souci, Nesmonto? Sache-le, Hubert. Toi, tu vas mourir. Comme ça. Voilà. 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 On va faire ça, hein. I'll end this quickly. Voilà. Allez, un petit critique. C'est pas un critique, ça. Et ça non plus, c'est pas un critique. On peut pas gagner à tous les coups. Mercedes peut finir. Comme ça. Voilà. Je vais faire ça. Et ils vont pouvoir tous avancer bien comme il faut. T'auras plus critique quand même. Tu fais pas d'effort. Tu ne fais pas d'effort. Un peu relou la map là ici. Dorothea plus 2 bêtes ça va être compliqué. Fais voir. 12 HP, je peux la laisser en vie hein. Veski mon gars en vif là. Obvious. Comme ça. Ingrid, tu fais beaucoup de critiques. Non pas pour me déplaire, nonobstant. Si, son arme à distance elle va casser, je pense, à un moment. Bah c'est bon. Elle a tapé quoi 3 fois? Oh le level de zinzin. Elle a tapé quoi 3 fois? Donc ce test on s'en bat les couilles. Hop, hop. Salut mon pote. T'es une... T'es une sale merde. 2. Ah. Oh zut. Tu touches? Merci. Merci.
We must place our faith in Her Majesty. Her victory is everything.
Je suis pas sûr.
It's over. The way to the palace is clear.
Ratio d'Hubert, ah totalement. Raconte-moi la fin, jeu.
To capture Enbar. There is to be no needless killing or pillaging. Understand?
Yes, Your Highness.
Ah, ça c'est mon roi ça. My King.
We will advance our main forces straight to the palace. Yes, it has truly been a long war. We have only made it this far.
Oui, l'éveil de Sylvain.
Actually, no. I will save that sentiment for after we win this battle. We will advance our troops and confront her. We must strike down the Emperor and end this war.
My life is yours, Your Highness.
Let's win this and go back home in victory. I'll do the very best I can.
My honor as a knight, I will not lose.
Elle aussi.
I know the goddess.
Elle aussi.
Let's be sure to return home safely. All of us.
As a citizen of Fargus, I will fight.
Je suis désolé de t'avoir autant trash. Et t'as des grosses de merde. Ça c'est mon goat. C'est mon deuxième goat.
And don't you dare look back.
À la fureur du Fakouchir. Hein.
I will... No. We will win this. Together. Everyone, move out.
Zebardi.
The time has nearly come.
Oui.
Yes, the anomaly should present itself
La
shortly.
transformation.
However,
there's no reason to fret. Besides, it's far too late to second guess. Now,
On reste sur un
assume your
net.
position. I can't promise your safety if you remain here.
very well.
This pain is nothing compared to what I have already suffered.
Wesh. Wesh. C'est quoi ça? Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Qu'est-ce que c'est que ça? Wesh. Mais... Ma gueule? Non?